Natalie Portman is the new Thor? Marvel Phase 4 plans.
Avengers! Assemble.
You've probably heard a lot about Marvel's Phase 4, and you're probably wondering who's in it and what will happen. Well, we have a new Thor and so much more. Over the years, Marvel has interconnected characters to fit in the puzzles of each other's lives entirely, and Phase 4 takes things to a whole intriguing level. I have done a breakdown of everything you need to know about the new Thor and what you should expect in the fourth phase. You might need to grab a snack for this one. Phase 1 of MCU ran from 2008 through 2012. It had Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The First Avenger, and The Avengers. Tony Stark goes through a life-changing experience in the desert and builds himself a suit. Thor is exiled to Earth and he learns about sacrifice before defeating giants. Steve Rogers is transformed into a demigod in blue tights and gets frozen for 70 years before thawing in 2011. The three superheroes join forces and take out Thor's half-brother Loki. The second phase ran from 2013 to 2015. It featured Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. Again, the Avengers teamed up to take down Ultron, and at that time, Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man had nothing to do with the Avengers. But the two movies are also exciting and worth every minute. Phase 3 ran from 2016 through 2019, and the 3 years have been one hell of a ride. Fans were introduced to various exciting characters from Captain America, Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers: Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is the phase which was full of all sorts of emotions and the time we say goodbye to Iron Man. Captain America gets old, and Spidey tries to find himself in a world without his mentor. The phase may have ended on an emotional note, but it only meant that there was so much more to come. Marvel has recently released the plan for the fourth phase, and this is where we get to talk about the new Thor. They've added Natalie Portman to play the character. Not a female Thor, a she-Thor, or a lady Thor, she is the Thor. The director, Taika Waititi, will return from Thor: Ragnarok, and Portman will return from her character, Dr. Jane Foster. She announced that she was glad and more than ready to swing the hammer and bring the thunder. There's no doubt that she's able to fit the shoes because comic fans have already seen her doing it before a couple of times. For the newbies in the Marvel Universe, let's first answer the question, who is Thor? Well, the God of Thunder made his first appearance in 1962's issue of A Journey into Mystery. It was around the same time we were introduced to Spider-Man. His iconic weapon was forged in the heart of a dying star. Scientifically, a dying star creates neutronium, and a teaspoon alone of that matter weighs billions of tons, which explains the weight of the hammer. The hammer gives Thor the ability to soar the skies and perform other supernatural abilities. The connection between them is so strong, destruction of the hammer could cause his death. The weapon can only be wielded by those who are worthy. In the past, Beta Ray proved worthy to grab the Mjolnir. Superman was able to lift it, but only for a little while because he supposedly doesn't have the heart of a warrior. Captain America was also able to wield the weapon, and now the new female Thor will get to swing the hammer again. While most heroes have horses, Thor has two pet goats, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder. The two goats can fly and carry the God of Thunder on a chariot. Pretty cool, huh? Thor has been a superhero and an icon throughout the franchise, but there are times when he couldn't keep it together. He got so close to killing Thanos in Infinity War, and his failure led him into depression.
You should have gone for the head.
He became a lazy, fat drunkard, and people interpreted the character differently. Eventually, he was able to summon his hammer, but it was Captain America who wielded it.
No, give me that. You have the little one.
During Avengers Endgame, Thor left his role as ruler of Asgard and appointed Thompson's Valkyrie's character as his replacement. Those are just a few thunderous facts about the God of Thunder. Viewers are eagerly waiting to see how Marvel will portray Natalie Portman as the new Thor. Many were surprised by the gender shift, but the director, Taika, recently cleared the air. The movie will be based on the storyline of a comic book where Thor loses his powers, and Jane Foster wields his abilities and the magical hammer Mjolnir. We must admit that she already has quite a history when it comes to the Thor franchise. Jane Foster was always portrayed as a supporting character in the Thor animation movies and books since 1962. When she was first introduced, Jane was a nurse for Dr. Donald Blake, who ends up falling in love with both the Doctor and Thor without realizing they are the same. Since then, the character has had various storylines in comic books, games, and films. In one of the storylines, she was deemed worthy to wield the hammer after Thor is unable to use it. She temporarily joins the Avengers and is named Thor, the Goddess of Thunder. The character dies after sacrificing herself and reverts the mantle to Thor. And there are more versions of the character. In Earth 788, what if Jane comes across the hammer of Thor while attempting to look for Dr. Blake's cane? She can wield, renames herself Thordis, and faces many trials as the Goddess of Thunder. In this version, she is the most powerful Avenger and gets temporarily depowered only to be rewarded with a new power by Odin. He marries this version of Jane and she becomes the Goddess of Flight.
Awesome!
In the Civil War, 2006, Foster takes Captain America's side and joins his resistance group, Secret Avengers. She operates from S.H.I.E.L.D., and at one point we see her helping beaten Spider-Man. In Secret Wars, she's a participant in the final battle and is one of the few survivors in the Marvel Universe. The survivors are awakened 8 years later, but Dr. Doom is still on a mission to kill them all. Foster infiltrates the police force and convinces the majority to revolt against Doom. It goes on. In the original Sin, Nick Fury whispers a secret to Thor which causes him to lose the ability to wield the Mjolnir. An unidentified woman picks up the hammer and takes possession of its powers as the new Goddess of Thunder. Odinson suspects that Foster could be Thor's successor, but dismisses her due to her weakened condition from chemo. Odin and his brother send the Destroyer to retrieve the hammer, but an army of female superheroes supports the new Thor. Odinson asks Thor to reveal her face, but he's interrupted by S.H.I.E.L.D. Clearly, there are endless possibilities when it comes to exploring Jane Foster. MCU has included her in some of the movies in the 3 phases, and she makes a mighty comeback in the 4th phase. It turns out Jane Foster was not only able to transform into Thor, in another instance, she also transformed into Valkyrie. When the War of the Realms comes to Earth, she's able to help get the refugees to safety. During the war, Brunhilde and the rest of the Valkyries are massacred by Malekith. The Mjolnir self-destructs, but the parts combine into a golden structure which forms on Jane's hand. She becomes the first in a new generation of Valkyries with Undrajarn, the All-Weapon. We still don't know much about the plot of Thor, Love and Thunder, but Natalie's name will be Mighty Thor. However, if it has a lot to do with the 2014 storyline, then we may be in the loop about quite a few things. The movie also co-stars Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson and is set to be released on November of 2021. It may seem like a long wait, but I can bet the wait will be worth it. Marvel doesn't quite have a history of disappointing viewers. Thor, Love and Thunder is just one of the many movies coming our way in the following 2 years. MCU has also announced the release of other movies in the 4th phase. Fans had already predicted some of the films in the 4th phase, but others such as Blade came as a huge surprise. Among them is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the first Asian superhero film starring Simu Liu and Awkwafina. A reboot of Blade, with Oscar winner Mahershala Ali taking over the Wesley Snipes role. The much-awaited Black Widow. It will star Scarlett Johansson, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, O.T. Fagbenle, and Rachel Weisz. The Eternals, which stars deaf Lauren Ridloff as superhero Makari. This is a massive move for Marvel and its audience. It's especially heartwarming for deaf children who will identify with Lauren. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn is back on board, and after what happened in Avengers Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 might be centered on finding Gamora.
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
Viewers may also get to see Marvel superheroes who might have been forgotten. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. All we know is that this will be a horror movie, but we don't know what type of horror to expect. WandaVision. Well, Vision was killed in Infinity War, so we are eagerly waiting to see how Marvel will bring him back to life. If Iron Man and his friends could bring back half the universe, I'm sure Marvel will find a way. If you may recall, Disney and Fox merged to bring some of the viewers' favorite characters together. Well, the same viewers have been wondering when Marvel will do the same thing with its characters. The president, Kevin Feige, teased that plans were underway to fulfill some of those desires. We also expect to see Captain Marvel 2, Fantastic Four, and X-Men in Phase 4 projects. The new phase in the Marvel Universe is all about diversity. We have the first Asian hero. The production will also feature the first deaf superhero and the first openly gay superhero. Tessa Thompson, who co-stars in the Thor, Love and Thunder, revealed that Valkyrie's first order of business would be to find her queen, and Marvel later confirmed that Valkyrie would be the first LGBTQ+ superhero in a Marvel film. She was bisexual in the comic books, but Marvel never explored the character to that extent until now. While the rest of the world is celebrating the diversity, critics are already saying that Marvel never cared about the diversity until it made considerable profits in Black Panther. The new movies will bring new excitement to Marvel's fans, even though they are still adapting to life without Iron Man. As per the specifics of what the new projects are about, we'll just have to wait and see. All in all, the future is bright when it comes to MCU films. Let us know if you have any predictions regarding the upcoming movies in the comments section below.